Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. In this particular demonstration, again, we're doing a whole series of background videos, and you can do these for art journals, on masonite, canvases, whatever you want. It's just to create backgrounds that you can use either for painting or for journaling or just for inspiration. Okay? So what I did is I took a piece, one of my cards here. This is vinyl siding for a house, and I cut. And what I did, I got a really neat, almost like a rough comb. And I thought, why don't I just play with texture? I love texture, so I'm just kind of spreading these around. Now on the side here, what I have is I've got my Prima acrylics. I've got cad red light, phthalo green, yellow oxide, oopsie, and some white, titanium white. Okay, so going to do this wet on wet, meaning wet paint, wet, everything's wet, nothing's going to dry. So I'm going to be putting a very, very heavy layer of permalba gesso on here. It's going to stiffen up the page. Because we're working with texture, I like stuff to be very, very thick. So the permalba gesso, which is ground marble and pure titanium white pigment, that really makes it nice and stiff. But it's the end of the bucket, and I have to add some water because it was drying out a little bit quicker, so that's fine. But it'll make it really nice and stiff. So what I like to do with this at this point is I can take, if you want to do this right into your surface, okay, you can take this thing here and you can just make some really neat, you won't be able to see that. I'm going to add color so you can see. You can add some really, really neat texture there. What I can do too is I can dip right into some paint and create some really neat things here. And red with green is always quite nice because they're complementary colors. But you can create some really, really interesting textures. And it is quite messy, so you may want to put some gloves on. I like that. And because we're using minimalistic colors, like we've got the red and the green, which together can create mud, but I'm trying to go into some white so I can separate. I try not to go into the green and red at the same time. I like the yellow. Add some more texture. I see this really, really neat thing. Now I'm going to add more color. I'm going to go right into the red and green. I'm going to create a whole bunch of dots. Very, very thick. And there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. Now I'll go into some red. Oopsie. I picked the whole thing up there. That's okay. So I didn't need the titanium white, but I can go into it. Okay, now from here I'm going to take another page, okay, just a blank page, and I'm going to show you how to do this stuff too, and I'm going to go right on top, and I'm just going to gently push. That's really spotty. Oh my goodness. I gotta put the other one aside. Okay. And then I can take stuff that I've made. I took cardboard and glued it onto more cardboard. And you can go in here and you can push. And what that's going to do is going to push the paint out. So I'm going to get some Did it work? Yeah, it did, but you know what? It's so busy. It's so busy that you really don't even see. Okay, so that experiment didn't quite work, but what I'll do, so I don't waste what's on here, is I can go into another page and put that in there. I don't like wasting anything. Put that in my wet tray. So that didn't work. Okay, so what do I do? Well, if it's too busy, we need to soften it up. I am not going to waste the paint. What's really cool, I'm going to take wax paper, crinkle it up. Push that in there. Take that. I can go into another page. Push that. I'm just going to smush it a bit. Ah, neat. These backgrounds are so unique. They're so unique that you really can't go wrong. But my experiments didn't quite work the way I wanted to, so what can I do with this? Well, I'm going to take one of my old dirty rags and I can go in here. There we go. Just going to remove some of the paint. It's all about experimenting. This is the whole purpose of this. Look at that. That's softening up. Much nicer. There we go. Much nicer. See, now that's a lot softer. That's a lot softer. So what I can do, I would let this dry. Okay, I can put more gesso on there and then create some more texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my heat gun. And the paint might be a little bit thick for this. We'll see if I can see. I'm just looking to see when the shine disappears, the paint is drying. Yeah, it's not too bad. I just don't want to waste your time watching me dry a page. Okay, I can take gesso. I love experimenting like this. Remember that other page we did? Put that right on top. Now I'm going to kind of shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Let's see what we get. Oh, another mess. Another mess. That's okay. It's all about experimenting. What can we do with this? Oh, you know what? Do I have any bubble wrap? I do. I don't know if this will work. You just want to push it enough for the bumps of the bubbles to make contact. Now, can we see it? Can we see that? Oh, we can see a little bit of the rough texture in there. A lot of these bubbles are flattened out. And as you do this, you can see, so I'm going over the red. The bubbles create dots. I'll get a close-up of this. The bubbles create dots in your page. See? That's neat, eh? Okay, so I got my other page now. And I'm just going to put the bubble wrap on this. Now let this one tack up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's nice. You know what? I'm liking the red. I'm liking the red. I'm liking the red a lot. So I'm going to go on my palette and kind of pick up whatever leftover paint I have. Now the bubble wrap is starting, the bubbles are all breaking. I don't know if you can see that because of the paint sticking. But you still get some interesting textures. Now that's amazing. Look at that. That's amazing. It's all about experimenting. What I'll also do in here is I'll take this, oh yeah, I'll take this as well, and I'm going to put some yellow oxide right on my palette here. And while I'm here, take my experimental journal, just going to make a mark in here. Look at that. Stamps, stencils like to do that stuff they're quite costly. So isn't it great that you can do it yourself? So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of spreading the paint here, just so I can pick it up with the bubble wrap. Okay, I'll go right on here, and I'll just put it on. Oh yeah, I love that texture. And then you could let this dry and do additional layers. And okay, and with white, letting it dry is actually the better thing to do, because then I can go right with white on top. I'm going to get another page, the other page that I was working on. So everything's tacking up now, so the effects are going to be a little bit different as it tacks up. That's neat. And when you experiment with acrylics, if you don't like it, you let it dry and cover it up. So now what I'm going to do, let's do something with that. Okay, let's do something with all this paint on here. If I go in with the bubble wrap, okay, I'm going to find a page in take my journal, and it's going to push that right down on the palette. And get some additional texture in there. Again, this is just for experimenting. I like that. So I could take that page, kind of like that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and put some white on there. The white I'm going to spread out. Because I was with the bubble wrap, it removed a lot of the paint. So now what I have to do is I'm just going to find a part here that's got some good texture left. Okay, bubble wrap. Then I'm going to go right onto this thing here. See that there? Yeah, that looks nice. That creates quite the lovely texture. Now when you're doing this, if you're going to go with colors, let's say if you were to do red and green, what you want to do is you want to let one layer dry, then add the other, because if you go wet on wet with red and green, the red and green will create a very, very dark mix. That's actually quite nice. Look at that. So this would be good as a background for very dark painting or color study. I use my journals a lot for color studies. You know, the effects on what will happen to a pigment if I do this to it, or if I do that to it, or if I expose it to something. And what I found, I did a really neat experiment with acrylics and rubbing alcohol, which was quite interesting. Now, when it gets to the point where it's getting tacky, where you actually start to see a little bit of lifting, okay, that's when you need to stop. Okay, this page now very, very wet, so these have to be left to dry for probably for a couple of hours. Okay, heat gun on this is only going to dry the surface, not dry the actual moisture in the paper fiber. So hopefully this gives you some ideas where something that I started off doing, that experiment didn't quite work, but I created something quite unique by not giving up and just kind of going with the flow.